just finished my first book of 2025, and if I'm looking for a book that's going to top this, I'm going to have a really hard time. How the Word Is Passed by Clint Smith was an absolute banger. Clint Smith, who has published 2 poetry books, I believe, also a writer for The Atlantic, extremely good publication. I highly recommend you read it. Smith covers multiple different visits to locations that have ties to the period of slavery in America. In this book, he visits the Monticello Mansion, the Whitney Mansion, Angola Prison in Louisiana, New York City, among other places, and meets with people who are responsible for telling the story of slavery in modern America. Because Smith is a poet, it's almost as if he's sitting right next to you as he's reading the book, as you're reading through the stories that he's telling you about his visits to these places. Smith does such an incredible job of telling an extremely hard story to tell and a hard story to read with extreme elegance through the way that he writes, the way that he describes the settings that he's in, the way that he describes the people that he's talking to, and is able to showcase the emotions that sometimes differ from the things that he's trying to portray in the visits that he's having. In the book, Smith visits the Blandford Cemetery, and during his visit, they're celebrating former family members that served in the Confederacy during the Civil War. What he finds there are people whose ancestors served in the Confederacy who have a very different view of why the Civil War was fought, and the people who were enslaved should be remembered as well. This book takes you all across the world, all across the United States, and touches on some extremely tough topics as it relates to slavery and the conversations that people are trying to have today about such a difficult topic. It can be extremely hard to talk about. There's so much that we don't know. There's so much that we weren't able to carry through history because so much of it was washed away or literally and figuratively built over through time. But the way that Smith is able to share his message about just how important this time period is something that I will look back to when I read other history books about extremely important topics and think about how important it is to use elegance and grace and emotion in telling hard stories. Absolute 5 stars. Would highly recommend. If this isn't something you haven't read, or if you're looking for a book to start off your 2025 reading journey, How the Word Is Passed by Clint Smith would absolutely be a great start. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you've read this book, or if there's books similar to this that you think I should read, drop them below.